Welcome back to the Global Business Report on the Rise News. Telecommunications provider Airtel Africa has announced a new CEO. Segun Ogunsanya has been appointed Managing Director and CEO. He's going to succeed Raghunath Mandava, who is currently the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, after he, of course, informed the board of his intention to retire. President Buhari has congratulated Airtel Africa's new CEO. President Buhari said the appointment of Olusegun Ogunsanya as Airtel Africa CEO means the flag of Nigeria has been hoisted proudly across the African skyline once again. The president also said the appointment proves that Nigeria has a healthy number of quality professionals who can hold their own in any part of the continent and even beyond. South Africa, beginning May 1st, the South African Reserve Bank will use its authenticated collections debit check payment system. The system, according to the SARB, is part of its modernization of the National Payment System, NPS, and seeks to address the increasing levels of abuse in the debit order payment system known as the Early Debit Order, the EDO. Joining us to discuss this further is Seyi Omidiora, analyst at Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Seyi, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. What do you make of the Airtel announcement and President Buhari's congratulatory message?
Okay, well, I mean, it speaks basically to the excellence being shown by Nigerian professionals across the world. Now, his track record is quite exceptional because he has been the CEO of Airtel's Nigeria operations for about 7 or 8 years, since about 2012. So, and he also has a lot of experience in banking, FMCG. So he actually has quite a track record of being an excellent manager. He has worked in Ghana as well. So he knows a lot about the West African and also, I believe, which will also extend to the African space. Now, for him particularly, I think what we should be looking at is the potential now, because we know that the challenges of the past are quite different from the challenges of the future. And we also know that with mobile money adoption being gradually increasing, now we know that they are, maybe some people think it's going to be a challenge to the banks as well. So, I mean, this is something we should be looking at. So in going forward, I believe that this is something he will be looking at as well.
Good stuff. On the upgrade that the South African Reserve Bank is looking to make effective May 1st with the payment systems, are there any threats with respect to the implementation of the policy and how it's going to affect the players in the sector or end users?
Well, I think this is something that end users and banks should actually be happy about, because what we have seen with the early debit order system, which is currently being used, is that consumers constantly make complaints that they receive debit alerts on transactions they know nothing about. Now, early debit orders are basically debits that happen in the early hours of the morning, about midnight, and normal debit orders happen way later during the day. Now, I know we have experienced this a lot, where people wake up in the morning and then they check their phones and see debit alerts and they wonder where it's coming from. And then this is something that the new system is trying to curtail, because the current system actually has companies, mandates companies to actually take out this money from people's accounts. But with this new system now, banks have that mandate, so they actually send authorizations, they require authorizations from the consumers before going ahead to debit their accounts. So this is actually an improvement and it helps limit fraud. So I think this is something that will help the South African financial ecosystem tremendously.
Great stuff. All right, so now let's take it wider and look at the African continent. We already talked about an Airtel announcement, and we're talking about digital payment upgrades and so on, as far as end users are concerned. Mobile money. Airtel has talked about spinning off. I think that there was a sale or so of their a partial sale of so of investments in their mobile money division. MTN also talking about possibly valuing their mobile money division at what, $5 billion or so. What are the implications? If we look, let's start with Nigeria first. Sorry, implications for this ecosystem.
Okay, well, in terms of financial inclusion, it's a brilliant thing, because for Airtel, what we saw was their mobile money business was valued at about $2.65 billion. And spinning off about 11.25% of that, so that's about 300 million to MasterCard and TPG, which is a private equity investor in the United States. Now, Airtel did that basically because they don't want to incur more debt on their balance sheet. Now, this is actually a good thing for growth because with additional investors, then of course this will help the business grow a lot faster. Now, for Nigeria in particular, now we know the drive to financial inclusion, and we know that the CBN has said that they want about 95% of Nigerians to be financially included by 2024. Now, currently, we are at a level where it's still quite low. And with mobile money penetration, I believe that we are expected to see a lot more growth in the foreseeable future.
Is that growth behind these two companies in particular, Airtel, MTN, or at least the potential behind them looking at spinning off those divisions and having them as standalones? Because we're even hearing about them being IPOs. What's the impact on growth looking ahead? How do you see it?
Okay, yeah, I believe that it has a lot to do with it because in 2020, mobile money operators or consumers, made up we have about 1.2 billion people in the world who are mobile money subscribers. Now, about only 300 million of that are active subscribers. And of that 300 million, about 160 million people are from sub-Saharan Africa alone. So that's more than 50%. And this is expected to grow further with the world moving away from cash into digital finance, basically. So, of course, all of this playing also had a part to play. Airtel's revenues also grew, mobile money revenues also grew by about 63% from Q2 2020 to Q4 2020. That's about 63%, so about $110 million. So that's about 10% of the total revenue generated by Airtel in 2020. And the mobile money business as well also saw a substantial increase in consumers. So this with that trend, we are likely to see a lot more growth. And of course, I believe that also had the part to play in Airtel and MTN also thinking about spinning off their mobile money businesses.
Fantastic. What about now? It's not all rosy. Surely there are risks that end users have to consider when using these platforms. Can you speak to that as far as risk to end users, mobile money risks are concerned?
Okay. Yes. So generally, we know that the level of education is a problem, and with that, people phishing emails. We know people get a lot of phishing emails trying to get access to personal information. And due to a lack of education, people tend to fall for some of these phishing emails. We also know that a lot of credit card or debit card fraud also happened. And this is because a lot, again, also speaks to the level of education, really. And to mitigate some of these risks, KYC, you need to know that your consumers are, in terms of from the banks and financial institutions, that you need to know that your consumers are actually people that exist. You also need to know that, give access, remote access to, extend remote access, to a lot of all these mobile banking as well, so that, you can also curtail a lot of these fraudulent activities that's going on in the mobile banking businesses.
Fantastic. Let's go back to mobile growth. Only got about a minute ago. The most recent news was Vodafone and MTN consortiums or so wanting to hop into Ethiopia. 30 seconds. What do you mean? What do you make of that?
Okay, yeah. So we know that Ethiopia has a population of about 112 million people. That's roughly about another second largest in Africa. And mobile penetration there, internet penetration is about 12% or about 19% or something. And that's definitely not good enough. So of course, they will be looking to increase their ownership in those places because they seeing the
potential for growth.
Yeah, exactly.
Seyi Omidiora, analyst at financial derivatives company. Always great having you on, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.